The Arts Centre is a cluster of 23 Gothic-style buildings in the heart of Christchurch. Built in the 1900s, formerly the site of Canterbury University, turned into a community hub of arts and culture. It was badly damaged in the quakes, and now a $290 million rebuild is underway. It's going to take another 7 years before it can open its doors. A team of stonemasons are working down at the Arts Centre to bring it back to its former glory. Neil from the UK.
My name's Neil Bishop, and I'm a stonemason with the Arts Centre. What I really love about my job is that it's a really vast sort of bank of knowledge. It's really a combination of a lot of skills and disciplines, and like art and geometry, geography, and the actual practical side of the job as well.
Tristan from France.
My name is Tristan. I'm a stonemason for the Arts Centre of Christchurch. So basically carving all the stone, which is going to be put back on place on the site.
And Jeff, a Kiwi bloke who's learning the trade.
He's an apprentice, which means that Jeff doesn't know how to do anything. So we've basically made these to help motivate Jeff. So this one is for when Jeff doesn't do his homework. This I just use for general motivation throughout the day, when it's like he's not going fast enough or I'm not really happy with the quality of his work.
Before the earthquakes, I was a street performer out here at the Arts Centre, and I ended up helping them to put the place back together, and they sort of offered me an apprenticeship doing this.
It's different to be doing a project that's really going to be for a community as opposed to for someone to make a lot of money off.
But before the stonemasons can even begin their job, all the white limestone they create the ornaments with must be sourced down in the rolling hills of North Otago.
I'm Mike from Parkside Quarries here in Oamaru. I look after the sales and marketing for the Oamaru stone that we quarry here. Stone started to be quarried from this site in 1906. It's taken probably about 15 to 20 years from right at the top to right to the bottom, with the Arts Centre in mind, and the restoration work that they're doing there. There's a lot of different sizes required to restore some of those buildings. The way we quarry the stone these days is with diggers with 3 metre circular steel blades on them. So they sit on top of the floor and cut into the ground about 1.2 metres. So we cut crisscross it into sections and then break it out from underneath into approximately 2-tonne slabs, and then cart it out of there down to the factory. So each of those 2-tonne slabs are individually taken into the shed and put onto the saw bench, cut with a 6-foot tungsten blade to the size of block required for each order. And then the trolleys turn 90 degrees, the rubbish all removed, and then cut into the veneer thickness required for that job. It all goes through the processing shed. Stacked onto pallets, freighted direct to the Arts Centre for the stonemasons up there to work on.
Once the stone arrives, they must draw the architecture they'll be recreating, then make plastic templates, apply those to stone and cut along the lines they draw.
So basically, after completing like a full-size setting out, 1-to-1 scale drawing of what we're going to make, we reproduce it into templates, and these templates work on the basis that it helps you recreate the elements into 3D. So to start with, I've checked to see if my block is square. The typical tools we would use for roughing out and for just removing the large amounts of material would be the saw. I'm going to start cutting off the angles. So there we go. So the next process I'd have a look at would be checking that my surface that I've sawn is flat. Because in stonemasonry we work to very high accuracy and tolerances, usually about 1 millimetre. So everything has to fit to 1 millimetre. And when you're doing the setting out on the templates, we have no tolerance, it has to be perfect. This type is called a French drag. This would be used for making flat surfaces and working flat surfaces. Simply you rub it against the stone. And it makes a horrific noise.
Well, we're doing an exercise in, with harder stone. It's a repeat of what I've already done. But basically we're taking a rough-hewn piece of rock and making a flat surface to start off with, and then we're going to tip it over and make more flat surfaces basically. So sometime in the next 10 years I should be finished. No.
The boys are currently working on the old Canterbury University chemistry block, creating a decorative triangular pinnacle to sit at the top.
So that's the top of the pinnacle for the chemistry. And it took me about like 2 weeks, roughly 2 weeks to do it. And I still got the finial, so the last piece coming on top. It's more like sculpture. It looks like a flower, basically. It's more the artistic part of stonemasonry.
And basically we'd use these drawings. These are 1:1 scale, so this is a full-size drawn replica of it. And we would take our templates we need to actually make the stones from these.
When they finish a piece, it goes back onto the buildings, but not without a personal touch, putting a symbol on the back of each stone they create.
A mason's banker mark goes back to the Middle Ages, and it was a way of identifying the stones that you'd done. So you were paid by what you made. And another way was to identify errors. If there was a problem with the stone, if you'd gone out on the weekend and had far too much to drink and just made a total bodge of it, and it wasn't right, then they could tell you. There's no kind of specific rule for a banker mark. Everyone pretty much just has their own and they're made up. The kind of rule of having a banker mark is you have to be able to do it quite quickly. It's not something that you can spend hours and hours doing. So it's just something that you can whack out in about a minute. It helps to be a bit mad. I'd say most stonemasons were a bit weird. Well, a bit weird and I don't know, it just helped, passion. I'd say for first quality has got to be passion. You got to really love it.
An intricate task restoring all the white stone on these buildings, and it's far from over. But these guys know what they're doing is for a city that's lost so much.
Yeah, it just means a lot. It means a lot to me, really, and it's good to see it being put back together, stone by stone. Yeah, can't wait for it to open again.
This is kind of the first project I've done where it hasn't been for rich people.
A lasting legacy left in a place that's itching to get back on its feet.
You know that there's a piece of you that's left behind for many hundreds of years afterwards.